Hey, welcome back. My name is Marcus Davies. I am a professional mixing engineer. I also produce, songwrite, record, all that shit. Um, Today we're looking at a song by an artist called The Eleanor. This is a single he just recently put out a couple months ago called Never Said. Um, Really great tune. I love it. It's right up my alley. I'm so glad I got to mix this one. Uh, he normally mixes all of his own stuff. He reached out. We've been talking for a while on TikTok, I think it was, and he's like, this one is just bugging me. I can't quite get it to feel the way I want it to feel. I listened to it. I told him what I thought, and he tried some stuff, but he eventually just said, "I'm just gonna kick it your way, and see what you can do with it." So we got it there. I don't know if I have the original demo. I do have the original demo here. Yeah, I'll flip back and forth between the mix that he had and the way it actually ended up. I think that'll be pretty insightful, and we'll see kind of. I'll try to communicate like what it was I was hearing that I felt the track needed and stuff like that. I haven't made one of these in a while. I got super busy with work and I just didn't have the bandwidth for it. So today I'm just decided to just go for it, jump in, pick a song I did recently, and just go for it. So I loved this one. I wanted to show it. So that's what we're doing. I do have a little bit of a newer setup in here since my last video. I'm not on my big Mac Pro trash can anymore. I'm just running off my little laptop. And this is the first time I'm using like the screen record software. And just minutes ago, I was noticing that it crops it weird. It crops it based on the laptop screen and not my actual monitor screen up here. So I'm going to try my best to try to keep everything that's happening in Pro Tools right in the middle of the screen, kind of top left-ish. So it'll fit in the crop of the video. So bear with me. There might be some stuff at the very, very bottom that we're going to miss out on. But I will try my best. So bear with me. I will hopefully have some time in the future to really figure this out. But today, like I said, I just had to kind of gun it and run it. So that's what we're doing. Okay. This is a really cool, dreamy, chill, pop kind of song. I don't know. It's like a Chet Faker adjacent, but his references were like, was it Blinding Lights by The Weeknd? He thought that was like the perfect pop song. And so anyways, yeah, let me play a little bit. I'll start at the start and I'll kind of flip back and forth between my mix and his master down here. Right. Cool tune. Really cool. He's got great vision, great vibe. So like the biggest thing I'm hearing between his version and my version, like we really got it to open up. That was the biggest thing I was hearing was like I just wanted to feel more open and breathe. There, let there be depth, clarity, not just boosting top end, but just filling it out. Right, it just felt too claustrophobic, a little closed in. Nothing was kind of speaking on its own. Everything was kind of fighting with each other. So that was my biggest thing, is just the interaction between each of these elements and just providing like a little bit of a better version of it. That kind of, you know, emphasizes the groove a little bit, because I felt like that was kind of lost. So there we go. Let's do this. Let's start at the end again. Top down. I guess I do like a top down kind of mixing. So this is my print track here. I always print my audio. I want to see it. I want to be able to work with it, as opposed to like doing a bounce, right? Let's see. Where were we actually measuring? Like the loudest part, I think, is back here. Yeah, that's a good healthy level. Like, I know I was not going to be mastering this one, so I'm not too focused on getting this up to -6. I just know I want to be in the ballpark, kind of loud, where like my limiters are doing work, so I know what the actual limiters, when it comes time to master, is what those are going to do to my mix. So I'm always just kind of being smart about it. The only other stuff that lives on my print track here, you'll see Slate VSX right here. This is made inactive for now, because otherwise this would sound like fucking shit on your phones, on your TVs, whatever you're watching this on. It would not work without like the headphones, so that is off. But I do mix with Slate VSX headphones. I love it. It changed my game. If you want me to talk about it, I will talk about it, but that's that. The other thing that lives on here that I will show you, this is one of the best, most useful plugins ever. This is a Metric AB by Plugin Alliance. Phenomenal, especially if you're starting out and you're trying to chase certain sounds. There's a lot I could say about that when you're referencing. I do it just to see how it feels, but I won't go this far necessarily. Where, let's pick, this Youth by Glass Animals. This is pretty fun. Right? Like, this is a really cool section. You could solo up frequency bands and A-B it with whatever your reference track is, which is super helpful. They're this isn't the time and place to go into it about like what I think about referencing and stuff. I think it's useful. I think it can get you into trouble. Anyways, having that in there though, it's more like ginger. It's like taste testing, if you're at a fancy ass restaurant or something. That is more of a palate cleanser. So like if I'm getting in the weeds and I don't want to like get up and walk away, I'll just flip over to some other song that's in the ballpark and just kind of live there for a minute, scroll on my phone, answer an email, whatever. So that's pretty useful. Other than that, it's just my LUFS meter up here on this print track. Moving on. Main mix, my mix bus. Gotta love it. Okay, this is the fun shit. I have a lot here. You can see I only have one open slot. This has changed recently. So yeah, next time I do one of these videos, it'll be quite different. You'll see. Sometimes it's just been one plugin. So we'll get into it. So what are we doing on here? We have first up the Studer A800 tape. Who doesn't love tape? Very safe here. I didn't want to slam into this. 30 ups, 250. I've said this before, but it's just moving these and seeing what different character it gives you, right? These aren't better than the other. It's just different. So let's see what this does. Okay, so I can tell you why I landed on 250. This one, for this particular track, it just feels a little more opened up. I'm doing this with my hands, but I guess that means just like scooped. Like it gives me a little bit more of an open feeling, like a pull text, smiley face, EQ kind of thing. Just like it just, it makes the top end feel a little bit better versus like the 900 formula. A lot more mids. It's a little darker, a little more mid-range forward, which is cool. Like this is a vibe. Yeah, I just wanted a smoother, little more of an open top end, so that's why I went there. Same thing with yips, like just play with it, see what happens, calibrate, whatever. But how hard was I hitting this at the loudest point? Yeah, that's my sweet spot. So that's why these inputs and outputs are where they are. That right there, like -1 is really preferred. I'm okay to like dip into the red a little bit or a lot of it if the song needs it, whatever. But that's cool. Yeah, a little bit of tape right out the gate. Let's see, 2500. I love this. This has been my go-to mix bus compressor settings for quite a little while here. I will tweak the attack. Sometimes if it's doing too much, I'll roll this back to 2 or 3. But I always have the mix down 60% wet. So I usually leave this up. Sometimes it's still a little too much and I'll back it off, but rarely. I almost never touch the release. It's usually always as fast as possible. I do like independent left and right. It just kind of helps things feel a little bit bigger. Yeah, when it comes to big group style compression, like on the mix bus, I love mid side and I love duo mode, like separate left right. It really just, to me, gives a little bit of size. That just helps things open up and breathe a little bit easier. That way, if there's something big happening on the left, it isn't ducking the whole thing like a big floor tom. Something, yeah, these I almost never change unless I need to, obviously. Let's see how hard we're slamming. Okay, this is for me is doing two things. It's making it a little bit bigger, so like the side information just feels a little like it's kind of wrapping around the vocal a little bit more, which I really love. So it's just kind of keeping things tight, but I feel like the groove is being enhanced by this as well. So like that kind of heavier compression, it's almost like doing parallel compression on like drums or something like that. Like it's giving me something similar with this, I see as I'm dancing around -3 dBs of reduction. So like listen to this again, pay attention to like the groove, the moving element on the sides. Yeah, I feel like the snare pops out, boom, like that backbeat just. Yeah, the way it just kind of like lets that snare sneak through just a little bit, but I like that tight 10 millisecond, like 10 milliseconds on the SSL. G-Bus compressor is also brilliant. So it's usually 30. I think this defaults, my setting here defaults to 30. Well, let's listen. Let's see how big of a difference that makes. Okay, interestingly enough, I feel like the snare pokes out too much with that 30 milliseconds. So like I needed a little just to grab it a little bit, let the smallest little transient through and then clamp down, and I feel like that just makes it groove a little bit better. Better. I say better. It's different. It's Is it better? I don't know. It worked. I liked it. Oh, Oxford Inflator, how much I love you. Beautiful. Oh my God, what is it doing? Who the hell knows? So good. This like one plugin here for me is like the one of the differences, right? Like this one's doing a lot, taking it from where he had his mix into where it ended up. This one plugin did a lot, and if you know this plugin, below this line is more thin. Or not thin, just brighter, and then above, the more curve you got, the warmer, thicker, darker it is. So let's play with that. The volume will adjust a little bit as I push this up, but deal with it. Right. Pretty cool. It's also really fun to like adjust the input to move this or drive it a little more. Like you can really fuck this up. This plugin, absolutely incredible. Sometimes I have it down at 10%. Sometimes it's at 100. Totally depends. How much do you want of that thing, right? Love it. That's a huge, huge thing. Like, did you guys feel it like get more claustrophobic when I pushed it up? Like, cause that was, again, like bringing the curve down, if I can talk today, bringing the curve down, to me opens it up, brightens it up, which was one of the big things that I wanted to do when I heard his mix, right? So like this plugin is big for this sound. Moving on. I love this. Check this out. The low end will kind of collapse because I built my mix around this with this plugin already on from the start, right? Listen to those low mids around 300 and it'll just rock your world. Yeah. Which, I mixed around this. Like, this is just all of these, except one of these, which I'll get into in a second, is on my mix bus from the very beginning when I started working. Because it's been like this for a long, long time, and I know what I want my mix bus to be doing and what I don't want it to be doing. All that to say, this was on from the start. If I had started mixing and then put this on, it might have helped. It might have not. It might have fucked me up. But because this was on from the start, then I can work on my low end. So if you can hear it. I mean, if I was mixing this whole time and I go, oh, the low mids need some attention, I would not go here and do that. Like that threw a lot of things off. I would have to go into my mix, into those tracks, find whatever's making whatever bad sound at 300 hertz and get it out there, as opposed to affecting the whole mix here. Love this. A little bit of presence goes a long way. So you can hear right there, like there's a lot of little moves happening, right? The little bit of presence here, the Oxford inflator, the curve coming down, and that specific tape formula in the Studer. Those are all doing very, very little to open things up. But that right there is already putting me in a much better spot compared to what it was and what we needed to improve. What else? A little bit of harmonics, very little there. Mono maker, everything under 84 hertz. I just did a mix. This was down at like 70. Sometimes I want this to be up at like 150. Usually not much more past that. It depends on the elements. If there's crazy stereo bass, I think there is a stereo bass in this track. And I just wanted to keep the lows like sub 84 hertz. mono up the middle as opposed to shaking the earth on the outsides. Just a touch of stereo width out here. I really like that stereo spreader. Okay, here's one more amazing thing. If you see my videos, this will look familiar. But again, the next video, I think this will be different. I love this EQ. This is mid-side mode. That is the magic of this. Let me A/B it on and off real quick for you. Beautiful. And I'm doing so little. It's 1 dB at 74 hertz up the middle, and then 1 dB at 2.5K shelf, just on the sides. And that, to me, again, is one of those things that opens it up. So everything so far on this mix bus has been trying to clear room, create room, open things up, let the mix breathe, get a little bit bigger, expand on the top, expand on the sides, just get deeper, bigger, fuller. Brilliant. And I love these little filters down here. So if you're on good headphones or good monitors right now, you'll be able to hear this when I pull this this high pass in and out. 12 hertz, 18 hertz. This defaults in my template to 12 hertz because it just tightens up the low super subs in a beautiful way. I don't really understand how it's doing it. I should put up an analyzer and really look at that one of these days. But it just tightens up in a great way. I absolutely love it. Okay, this is the last thing, or this is the last part of my mix bus. These last three plugins that down here. These last three plugins down here are part of my mastering. This is the last one, or this one is the last thing to come onto my mix bus. So meaning when I start my mix, it's off. And this is like using stabilizer in Ozone. People are probably more familiar with that one. This is the same thing where it's a smart plugin. It's cool. It's helpful. I like it a little bit. So let me do with and without. Just like basically everything before it, the purpose of this one is to help open it up, right? So if we do this, I'll keep the mastering on there so we're at the same volume. This is going to be startling. Brace yourselves. But listen to everything that these plugins are doing. They're all doing a little bit. Maybe it's getting like 5% better on each plugin. But obviously that's, 6 plugins? So we're 30% closer to the finish line just with these on the mix bus here. Something like that. I don't fucking know. But here we go. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, it's all just doing a little bit. So this is a weird plugin. You let it kind of analyze, do its thing, and then I always dial it way, way back, and just kind of let it just help a little bit. I don't want this thing doing a lot. I just want it to mellow things out, smooth things out. That's that. Okay, let's get into the mastering stuff. I just want this to be doing a little bit. This is very gentle, limiting. Fast attack, fast release, obviously. Threshold down to... I usually don't need this for gain. Not this first one here. I don't need this for gain. But I just want it to round over some of those peaks. Just soften the mix a little bit. Not straight chop yet. Just soft softening those, just a little bit of control. Again, I usually want this around -2, never more than -3 on this first limiter. All right, dB and a half, close to 2 dB. From there into, this is a big part of my volume, is this standard clip, and I will take this, I'll take all 3 of these off when I go to print for mastering. But let's see what we're doing here. I see I got the saturator up quite a bit on this one, more than normal. I love it. It's giving me size. It's making my last limiter here work even less. So I'm trying to get like other than the saturation, like a pretty transparent, clear, open mix is what I'm trying to present to the artist or label, producer, whatever. All that goes into my very last thing here at the very end. I do have True Peak on. This has changed since I've done this. I don't fuck with True Peak anymore. But it's on there just to be safe. Whatever. I have transient emphasis all the way up. This will be interesting. I'll move this around, and we'll see exactly what this is doing. This will really be noticeable when it's just got like one lead vocal. So in this type of mix, in this type of music, or this particular song anyways, I want to keep his vocal front and center. It's a very mellow vocal. He's not belting. He doesn't have a lot of aggression or like distortion on his sound. So all that to say, I want to make sure that I don't lose him. Because when I push these two up, especially the sustain on the side, so it's really this on the side. The sides, again, because then we're like unlinking left and right what they're doing, which I love on a mix bus compressor. But here, I wanted it to be not that. Only 4% of that. So listen to this, the music wrap around him a little too much. Like it can be really cool. It can be, I just needed him to sit in front and center a little bit more. We'll go to a chorus. Yeah, a little tough because he's got a bunch of background layers on that are panned out hard, so it's a little tough to hear. But especially on a phone if you're watching this on TikTok or something. But I just want to, very very little. I want I don't want to lose his lead vocal. I don't want him to get lost in the sauce. So that's that. And I don't need crazy anything else. Yeah, this is all just basic stuff. And it doesn't matter because when it comes time to master, boom, all those come off. And now we're measuring. Cool. So 7 dB of gain coming from that. Okay, that's my mix bus. What feeds the mix bus? 4 different buses. This is more of a Michael Brower as well as an Andrew Sheps kind of thing. I love how those guys can use compression to balance a mix, to automate a mix, to just whatever. They mix into compression in these two different ways, and I'm kind of combining them here. Let's ignore the rear bus for a second. Let's go ABC right down the line. A bus is, let me turn that off. Drums and bass. Drums and bass are coming here. Drums and bass, taken from like the Michael Brower school of thinking on this one, is those two things kind of need to be married together, drums and bass, generally speaking. Sometimes I skip these buses altogether. That's for another video. Something like this, I just want to marry that drum and bass. Yeah, I'm only looking for a dB on those hits. It just kind of tightens things up, just kind of helps the groove along a little bit. So that's all I'm trying to do. And this is a color. Most of these compressors are working very light, and I just want a little bit of color. So boom, there's your drums and bass. Let's get all of the other music other than vocals. B-bus's vocals. Let's jump over to C really quick. Again, this is color, and it's also doing some compression. The key element here is all of this music is in mid-side mode coming through here. So I'll play it again, and I will bypass the plugin, and then I'm going to bypass each of these little modules, right? The input, tone, character module, EQ. I don't even know if I have anything. We'll open it up in a second. And then the mastering, the limiter, compression side. So watch what I'm doing here. So this is, the tone is a color thing. This input characteristics, it's a color. I don't think I'm not doing anything with the EQ. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. If I need to make more room for the vocal, again, this is a mid side, so I'll pull out of the middle, boost on the sides, get it around the lead vocal instead of clashing on top of it. The limiter here is mostly what this is about. It's just keeping everything forward in front, especially if I put in these vocals. Like, we might lose a lot of stuff if I just take out this limiter. Yeah, even if I like gain match it, ish, it still doesn't, like, things just kind of fall a little too far back. Like, this just kind of helps keeps things front and center. And it's a very similar concept to what I'm doing on the mix bus, what I am doing on the mix bus with this here. Bringing up the sides, independent left, right, is what we're doing. And again, I'm at around 63%, versus that 2500 was at 60, I think. So there you go. 20-1, fast, modern, original, yeah, whatever. It's just keeping things steady, but still dynamic, but steady, up front and center. What else do I have on here? I have a little bit of soothe. Yes. And if you see my other videos, you'll recognize this again. Soothe, but it is side chained from the vocals. all I really care about is like the mids, the low mids. He's got so many pads, guitars, the mids on the bass. Things are just living here between 100 hertz and 1K, including the fundamentals of the vocals. So I just needed to carve a little bit of room. This mix is at 38%. I'm doing about a dB in total at the most. This is just one of those little things that helps keep the vocals on top and the star of the show, as opposed to getting lost in the mix of everything else. Easy trick. I didn't create this. It's, people have been doing this for a long time, but I like to use Soothe for it. Yeah, keep the mix down. Don't get carried away. Let's get carried away. Let's see what the fuck happens. Yeah, if you're doing that, you're doing something wrong. Like you should never have to be doing that to get your vocals to cut through a mix. Like you gotta learn how to mix before you do something like that. 100% wet, crazy hard like that. Anyways, this was an idea he wanted to add after I'd sent like the first mix and stuff. He thought, what if we do like a filter sweep? So all 4 of these on these 4 mix buses are the exact same one. I just copied it over. So we're filtering from 89 up to 1300. Let's watch it happen. Cool. There you go. Like I said, that's happening on every one of these. They're the exact same. He just wanted that effect, so we did it. Let's see. B-Bus, vocals. What do we got? I love this guy. And if you know, you know about this switchable transformer down here with the Shadow Hills stuff. Super cool on a mic pre as well. But here's this. Steel gives you a little bit of a resonance boost at 50 hertz. I used to never be able to remember it if it was steel or nickel. So I wrote it down in my little template. 50, 100, 150. So let's see if we can hear this in the bottom end of the vocal. If he gets a little bit of a boost, you won't really hear 100 or 50 for that matter, but you'll hear nickel versus, when I go back and forth, like you'll hear a little bit more oomph down low in the vocal. You couldn't change my mind, you couldn't break I wouldn't. Yeah. I don't think it's needed in this particular mix. Like I was trying to not necessarily remove those frequencies, but open things up in the top end, right? Just kind of, I didn't need to make his voice any meatier than it already was. So that's my thinking with that. And as far as compression goes, barely anything. All backgrounds are running through here and stuff. Yeah, it just gives a slight little boost, right? Like a guitar player clicking on like a clean boost type of guitar pedal. Like it just adds a little stage of something. Again, none of these are really about the compression except for this rear bus, which we're about to get into. It's mostly color. Rear bus. This is a concept from the great Andrew Sheps. If you've watched all my videos, you'll know sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. In a song like this where things are very legato and sustaining and just kind of floating and this whole song just kind of has this layer of clouds and everything's just holding out. So in that type of thing, I think another good way to get the vocals to sit on top of them is by doing this rear bus trick. So the rear bus is getting the vocals and the music. So that's what this little send back here is, just unity send going into this rear bus. So what's happening is when the vocals are singing, there's compression happening. And what that means is that the compression happening is pushing down the volume of all that music elements, the guitars, the synths, pianos, all that stuff. So it's a redundancy of essentially what this is doing, right? This is creating room for the vocals. This rear bus back here is also creating room for the vocals. This is set fast, 2-to-1. At most, I think I've ever hit -3 on this thing, but I'm usually living around -1, -2. So that when the vocals are singing, it's pushing down on the music, and when they stop singing, the music comes back up. So this is what I meant earlier when I meant, like, you know, using compression to kind of self-automate the mix, sort of, right? There's no easy way to take this in and out without there being like a giant level jump. So it's impossible to really kind of tell what this is doing. But again, this is one of those things that starts on my mix bus, or it's part of my mix template. This is on from the beginning. So I'm leveling into this as I'm building my mix. Yeah, it's just kind of impossible to tell or to like solo it up and hear exactly what it's doing. But I know I got this set this right, or I know I have this set right when I take the vocals out, like I just did, right? I'm in the loudest part of the song, so there's the most happening. I'll take the vocals out, and I don't want this needle to be moving when there's no vocals happening necessarily. So if it moves a little bit, that's fine. But I'm not doing more than -1, maybe even -0.5 a dB. Right, it's the vocals that are controlling. The vocals are controlling what this is doing. So this is a really cool way to kind of keep the focus, right? The vocals are the focus. They're seldom not the focus. So this is all that this is. Really cool. Sometimes this works. Sometimes it really fucking does not. And I'll just scrap the whole thing. Make an active, hide it. There you go. Okay, let's move on. Vocals. What do we got? It looks like doubled vocal throughout, left and right. Oop. Yeah, and one separate little thing for this down chorus down here. So let's hear what these vocals sound like. Oop. You couldn't change my mind. You couldn't break my. I wouldn't break. I couldn't save my world. Cool. He's got a very cool, controlled, mellow vibe to his singing. Like it's very like he's doing his thing that works so well for him. Doubled left right. It looks like, okay, this is an old classic trick. You see my panning here. 17, 18. I don't care if they're perfectly even. If you were to do it on a console, it's not going to be perfectly even. So I don't have any desire to make these exactly 17. Just move it until it's in like the right spot. Same thing here, 35, 34. But what this is doing, the verses are in a little bit more. I couldn't save my. Oh, sorry. The verses are in more and the choruses are out. World on summer rain, I want to believe. This is so cool. So things expand, things get bigger. There's a scene change. That's typically what you want to be looking for when you're mixing, is making the choruses lift unless it's a down chorus, then you want the opposite. But some kind of movement like that it goes such a far way. You typically want things to expand outward, get bigger top to bottom. Speaking in like frequencies, as well as front to back. Just you want the whole thing to inflate, generally speaking. Okay, let's look at what we're doing.
You couldn't change my mind. You couldn't break my, I wouldn't break. I couldn't save my world out summer rain.
Cool. So this is all, we're just trying to brighten it up, right? So let's do this with and without.
You couldn't change my mind. You couldn't break my.
That's great. That really shows what we're doing here. Again, my whole kind of thesis with this was just opening it up, making it a little bit brighter. I can't go too far. I definitely, on the first mix I sent, I took it too far, and I had to kind of reel it back in terms of like the brightness and the excitement, the energy up top. I had to kind of reel it in a little bit, and just make it, meet in the middle from where he had it, where I first went with it, and then this is where we ended up. So this is controlling that low frequency mud, which is just kind of living in his voice. This again is controlling his frequencies, smoothing him out. This is another little way to kind of brighten it up a little bit by adding in a bunch of those harmonics, filling out the top end of the frequency spectrum. And then once again, adding it. This does a lot more than just EQ. This is definitely harmonic stuff in here as well. Really great plugin. This is free. Fresh Air is free. Like, go get it from Slate. It's unreal. And then dynamic control, LA2A, nice slow song like this. LA2A is phenomenal, dude. Can't beat it. So
You couldn't change my mind. You couldn't break my, I wouldn't break. I couldn't save my world out summer rain. You couldn't change my mind. You couldn't break my, I wouldn't break. I couldn't save my world out summer rain.
yeah, like you can hear it, especially in context by like having that second vocal in, or the double on the right, like not changing. You can really hear like where it, the difference is being made, right? Like, so like this decapitator added a lot of top end for me.
You couldn't change my mind.
Yeah, and I didn't even move this over here. I might have on the first mix. I don't know. But just leaving that right there, just filling out with these triode harmonics is really great. I didn't even see how much are we doing.
You couldn't change my mind.
Great. Yeah, super cool. Excuse me. That's awesome. That's fun. And I'm just going to a little bit of a verse reverb. We can look at that. Verse reverb down here. All of these plugins on like this time-based vocal effects, or just any of these vocal effects, I usually have this on here. I might use it, I might not, just as a filter, right? Because I don't want an S to go into one of these reverbs and just ring out for 5 days. Sometimes you might not want that. Like if you're doing a 1975 type of vocal, the band, the 1975, they definitely don't have any kind of top end filtering. Like they let those S's sing into it. Like that's such a classic 80s thing. H delay on the okay, so I'm feeding a delay into a reverb. Then yeah, there's my lexicon. Cool. Let's hear this.
You couldn't change my mind. You couldn't break my, I wouldn't break. I couldn't save my world.
Okay, I think I know, hearing it just now in solo, I think I know why I wanted to put a delay in front of the reverb. So, like, it happens on his slides when you couldn't change my. Check that out.
You couldn't change you couldn't change my mind, you couldn't break I wouldn't break, I couldn't save my world out summer rain.
Yeah, like that really, it created such a cool, almost kind of stuttering, glitchy trail behind him without being overly obvious, but it just made it more interesting than just a reverb. And I could hear like a little bit of pitch modulation. So like as he's sliding his pitch down, this is also kind of dragging and warping a little bit behind him. It just makes things a little bit more interesting for me. Otherwise, I got a small hall, 2.4 seconds. Yeah, two and a couple and a half seconds. Nothing major there. But we should talk about this little. So on all of these time-based effects, I have a filter on the front, and on the back end, I have a sidechain compressor, which is another great way to create clarity, separation, and depth in the mix. So let's see how much we're actually doing here.
You couldn't change you couldn't change my mind, you couldn't break I wouldn't break.
So around -5 on the loudest, give or take. Let's hear this in the mix. Let's see if things get too cloudy when I pop this compressor in and out.
You couldn't change you couldn't change my mind, you couldn't break I wouldn't break, I couldn't save my world.
Yeah, for me, it brings the vocal forward as opposed to being like married to the reverb and the delay in the background. It just kind of helps it stand at attention. So a subtle little thing that I still have my lush time-based effects. Things are swimming, things are moving, but there's clarity and there's depth and there's separation. So this is a great thing that I always do. I shouldn't say always. This is a great trick that can help give you that clarity. Little sidechain compression on the delays, on the reverbs especially. Cool. And then we go to our chorus vocals. I could see, what do we got? Probably the same. No way. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. What do we got here? Is that the same? That's the same. Same vocal chain. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, nope. Slightly different. Is this the same compressor? Yeah, it was. Okay, so the only difference here between the versed vocal and the chorus vocal is going from 4 to 5 on the fresh air here. Very interesting. How much is that doing? I don't know, but it's doing something, and this is another small way to help expand the vocal as we go into the bigger section. So just like I was talking about earlier, you want things to expand left and right, get a little bit bigger, and you want things to expand top and bottom as well as front to back. But left and right, you can see here, I got my left and right getting bigger from these pans, going from 17 on the left out to 35 on the left. So it's going out twice as wide. Not only that, but I'm doing just a slight bump in the top end as well. So there's my vertical extension going into the chorus, getting just a little bit more size out of it that way. Let's really listen and see what we can hear just with these vocals. And I will mute these time-based effects down here.
World out summer rain, I want to believe you. World out.
Yeah, it's subtle because his voice, his performance, he's actually going up an octave or something like that. So it's kind of already happening anyway, where it's just getting a little bit brighter, bigger. So I didn't need to do much. It's already there in the arrangement. One little bump up, sure, why not? Fun little thing there. And it's coming up in volume as well, just a touch, because there's a lot more instrumentation. So another half dB bump up there. That's great. And the only effect that we got here are hard panned. So verse verb on the verse vocals. You see follow main pan engaged here. So it's just out as in the same spot as where the vocals are living. That's where the reverb is. But we get to the chorus again. Another little way to help expand things and make them bigger. A quarter note delay, which is panned out hard left, even though that left vocal is out 35. So that's another fun way to put the effects a little more seemingly outside of the speaker. Just push it out farther. So that's fun. We're having fun. Quarter note delay. Let's look at it again. A little filtering, 500 up to 8K. Sure. These are all different. They do different stuff. Who cares? Sometimes you want the low end in your vocal. Sometimes you want to really chop it off right there. You don't want anything soft down there. Whatever. Song by song. Let's see. This is a fun unit.
Want to believe you, it ebbs and it flows.
Ooh, I don't know if I did this or not, or if this was in the mix, or if this happened when I was fucking this up today. Ooh, I don't know if I have this delay. If I did, because I know I just dragged it down, but I gotta believe I would have corrected that in the real mix. I don't know for sure though. Oh shit, doesn't matter. The song's already out. It sounds great. Could have been a happy accident, but I wonder if I fucked this up today when I was poking through and like making all the shit I didn't use in active, and I was fucking around and stuff. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Anyways, what's actually happening here? A little more filtering, 307K. That's probably not doing any more than the vocal or the filter before this was doing. I do have ducking on. This is going to be big. This is why I love this unit right here.
Want to believe you, it ebbs and it flows.
Let me go to the last word. You'll be here. You can hear it down here.
Comes and she goes. Comes and she goes.
Yeah, it's doing the same exact thing as like what I'm doing with that verse verb, right? With the sidechain compression. Effectively the same thing. I love a little modulation. Some flanging is happening. That's cool. Sometimes I'll distort it. Like I love these fun little modulators on the unit here. I think it's so cool. Like fuck up your reverbs, fuck up your delays, make it swim, make it move, make it do something, right? I will often distort it. I didn't like it on this one, evidently.
Comes and she goes.
Yeah, fun. Okay, where was this? 22 maybe? What's this undo? 21. All right, we're close. Cool. That's just happening in the choruses. I don't need a bunch of reverb on him. That I think was maybe he had a bunch of reverb on his voice, on his thing here. All right, sorry about that. Let's try it again. Yeah, I'm willing to bet he's got reverb on that vocal, that lead vocal. Anyways, and that's part of the problem with just like losing him in the mix, and he's just kind of not drowning necessarily, but he's not standing out front. He's not the star of the show. So you hear something like this, and with this type of song where you got all those sustaining things that are holding out and everything's floating, there's always like this big cloud of instrumentation. Reverb is not going to be my friend for a vocal. It's just going to get lost and just sit and fill in part of that cloud. Versus a delay was something that's, you know, rhythmic and it's happening out wide. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was something inside. Yeah, like you can hear, like reverb is not going to do fucking shit to help me in this scenario. So opt for a delay. Like I still want some time-based length and like tails happening with that lead vocal, but reverb would just be the absolute wrong answer here. So just being aware of your arrangement. I always talk about paying attention to the clues. Like the clues are there. I have things that are long and sustaining, essentially what reverb is. It would be doing such a disservice if I put reverb on that vocal. I go for a delay instead. Okay, TED Talk over for now. The only other vocal I got down here is this down chorus vocal. It's a down chord. Let me play the spot because I didn't show you this earlier in the bridge. All right, my mistake. I put the reverb right on the track. Cool, whatever. MV2 to clamp it down in space. Just because this, let's listen to it in context without this MV2, and we'll see if we lose it completely. Yeah, I know you get a little bit of a volume jump with this on there, but he just doesn't, you don't hear any of the words. So now we can hear the words. Capital chambers. Oh man. I'm not a huge reverb guy, but this one, I love this unit. This is so good. It's so great. I could talk about this for a split second here. I literally just cycle through and just pick whatever feels good. I'll do it with drums. I'll do it with guitars, anything that's going to a reverb. You just cycle through like we were doing with the tape formulas. One of them will feel better than the others for that particular song, that particular arrangement, that sound source, whatever. So I never always use this room and this mic with these settings. Like this is just what worked best. It's literally just clicking through, trying it, ABM, and then you'll be able to make an informed decision. Like just go with your gut, whatever feels right. I don't care if it's a plate or a hall. Fuck all that noise. Like don't get bogged down in that. Just fly quick, go on your instincts. If it feels good, it is good. But do it in context, right? So I'm not doing this just on its own. I'm listening. Like 6 was nice. 2 was way too dark. This one, it just feels a little more married to the guitars for me right now. Like that little high picked plucked thing. So I don't know, it just fit right. Who cares? Don't think about it. Mix is something like 90% wet. Something like that. Oh boy, what are we doing here? Yeah, you can hear some words don't have that sizzle on top. Yeah, so making that sizzle, that air on top, be a little more consistent. And then again, this is turning into the thesis of the video, but like scene changes in between sections, contrast, like I said, expanding when you get into the big spaces, like the chorus in this case, and then, you know, letting it be smaller in smaller sections. This is the smallest section of the song aside from the intro. So he doesn't need any top end. He does not need the top end. Take that top end sizzle out because everything else is just kind of dark and floating. This feels like bubbling water or like fog over a quiet lake in the morning before it explodes outward into a much bigger scene. So take out that top end. I don't need it. I can wash it out with the reverb. And then I just have a little bit of this here to hear the lyrics a little better. But that's all I'm doing here, right? I'm not boosting at 10K or whatever like Fresh Air is doing. I'm boosting at 1.6, and this is 1 to 3K is the intelligibility of the lyrics, anyways. But it's just creating a little bit of like a resonant filter, essentially, and controlling that top end to smooth it out. I don't want to hear it because, yeah, without this, it does feel wrong, right? It doesn't quite fit. Like, yeah, push it back, and then when that chorus hits, it can get bigger. Let's take a quick look at what it was in his original mix. Yeah, especially when it hits the S's right there. Yeah, get rid of that S. Like that bugged me. So top end gone. Great. Okay, all of these lead vocals are moving into my lead vocal bus. I have a bunch of lead vocal buses here. I'm using some of them. You know, obviously if they're inactive, I'm not using it. But all of these will feed my lead vocal some. So we'll get into it in a minute. But this is my main lead vocal sound. What am I doing on there? Shep's Omnichannel. Oh my God, surprise, surprise. I fucking love this plugin. So good. It's such a Swiss Army knife. This is my default go-to thing if I need to move really fast, like in a session tracking day or something. Anyways, odd harmonics, great. Let's go to a bigger spot with a bunch of vocals happening. I'll solo them up and then we can hear it.
You never said so. I thought I was made and I wasn't said.
In context. Oh, sorry about that. In context. Right, so this is one of those little tricks that it's brightening. Like you can see, I'm not doing a bunch of top end stuff. I had a little bit on the tracks, but adding harmonics in here. I'm a big fan of adding harmonics to get the brightness as opposed to just boosting a top end on an EQ. There's a time and place to do both, but something like this, like he doesn't need 20K on a Pultec or 27 on the Manly EQ. Like that's not right. So like filling it out. Not creating the illusion of top end, but just doing it in a different way, as opposed to just cranking a top band. Cool. Yeah, again, just subtle tone shaping down here. I'm not doing anything on the low band. I'm pulling out 1 dB, kind of broadband at 300. I fucking hate 300. Ugh. Oh, I should mention I'm filtering 18 dB per octave at 66 hertz, just so I'm communicating everything I'm doing. Not that really fucking matters too much. 2 dB up at 5K. I like 5K on a vocal. Classic Motown kind of frequencies. Not that this is Motown, but whatever. 1 dB up at 20K, just as a little tiny hint of air. Okay, we can clearly hear like there's a limit there. Again, maybe this was higher on my first mix that I sent him, and he said to darken it up after that. Maybe this was up a little bit higher. I don't know. But it just needs a little bit. It doesn't need much. I like what this is doing for the top end more than this up here. So that's that. Nothing else happening there. I see I am sending to a vocal echo on one word. Okay, I got one little cool delay throw, so let's look at that. Vox echo down here. Of course, I got my little filter. We know this. Boosting a little bit of mid-range. I don't need top sizzle. I don't need low mud. The echo happening is... I got the right side out of phase. This is why I love this unit as opposed to Echo Boy, which might be my favorite delay. It's the best. But what H delay does really great is I love these little buttons right here. You can put one side out of phase, and what it does is just really puts the effect outside of the speakers. It's a cool, surreal thing, and I love it in this scenario with like a delay throw like this. So let's check that out.
I couldn't say, but what did I know?
Oh, classic, dude. Great.
I couldn't say, but what did I know?
I love that. Like, you hear him, like, as a mixer, you look for moments like this, right? Like, paying attention to the clues in the arrangements. Like, once the mix is in place, I will usually, before I print to like send to them, I will do a pass, and this is something that's really popular that I do a lot with hip-hop music, is looking for a moment that you can do a delay throw or like mute the beat, right? Just do a drop right there, and it just makes it so much more impactful. So like there's little things there, and a lot of those clues come from the lyrics. In this case, it's coming from his performance. Like, he's doing a big scoop there, so there should be some kind of call and response echo part. Without it, it just feels kind of boring. So if I take this out,
And I wouldn't say though, I couldn't say, but what did I know?
it's cool, but again, we're halfway through the verse, so I just wanted to insert some kind of ear candy that's going to keep the listeners engaged, right? Because then right after this line, the guitar comes in and something new is happening. So it just feels like an evolution in the process, as opposed to just kind of, it just feels less monotone in a way.
And I wouldn't say though, I couldn't say, but what did I know?
Yeah, super cool. I love that. Great idea there. So I have that bus set up, and that's just the one time it happens in the song. That's awesome. I love it. I have a vocal slap happening, which is pretty subtle.
You never said so. I thought
Let's look at the effect down here. Again, I'm just trying to keep this in the window. Filtering, I don't need my super top, don't need the super low. I got Echo Boy happening. This is cool. Dual 80 milliseconds is usually a pretty good sweet spot. So you just turn it till it feels good. Okay. Maybe this is what I did. Maybe I just turned it to get it close to 80 because I see the tempo is 80. 80 would be too pretty. So I think that's why I went for the dual, and I got a little something happening on the left and then a little something different on the right. So like a slap could be anywhere from 65 milliseconds to 110, maybe like 120 feels too slow. That's too much of a rhythmic thing. Anyways, who cares? Yeah, don't think about it too much.
you never said so. I thought I lost my mind. I wouldn't say though. I couldn't say, but what did I know? We really are the same, stuck in the same snow.
Okay, so this is doing a lot for me. This is dimension. This is excitement. Without it, the whole fucking song just falls flat. The vocals just feel so boring. I can push it, and it sounds cool like this.
You never said so. I thought
Cool. I like it high up there. I think that's, it's probably too much as I fucking love that effect way up there. But yeah, without it, it really fucking does nothing.
You never said so. I thought you never said so. I thought I lost my mind. I wouldn't say though. I couldn't say. But what did I know? We really are the same. Stuck in this.
Again, like when he does that vocal slide, like you can really hear like the dimension. It adds like a little kind of like a stutter, glitchy kind of tail that follows.
I couldn't say. But what
Like it just feels like someone's stretching out the vocal, like they're grabbing the audio and they're just kind of, or like putting it through a black hole or some kind of sci-fi shit. Yeah, a little bit of dimension. I love a vocal slap. And that is on all throughout the whole song. There's no automation. Sometimes I'll push it up for a chorus if I want more of the excitement. Sometimes I don't need it. In this case, it is what it is. The last little bus down here is just a LVSC, lead vocal side chain. That is my input bus for all these little side chain compressors on the time bass stuff. So that just lives there. What else is happening? The other lead vocal bus I got. These are all parallel lead vocal buses. I don't actually need my parallel. I have two parallels over here that are extreme compression, something I don't need them, so we're not going to talk about them. Here I have a spreader, classic thing, right? Micro shift based on the H3000 type of vibe.
you couldn't change you couldn't change my mind. You couldn't break I wouldn't break.
Such a cool element of dimension there. So let's do this. I'm going to mute this the spreader bus and the lead vocal slap and listen to the vocals just fall fucking flat and boring without these.
You couldn't change you couldn't change my mind. You couldn't break I wouldn't break.
Oh, well, there you go. How about that? Super cool, right? A little bit of excitement, a little bit of width on the sides. Is this actually that preset? I don't think so. I usually move this around, and then every time you open it up again, it just says that. So, oh shit, I moved it. I don't give a fuck. The song is out. We're good. Let's demo this a little bit and see how different this unit can sound. Like with these two parameters here, this is usually all I'm messing with.
You couldn't change you couldn't change my mind. You couldn't break I wouldn't break. I couldn't save I couldn't save my world. I'm so
Yeah, something like that. It just feels right there, right? Like it must be the delay. Like it's doing like the slap vocal thing. It's a very quick, almost Haas effect, but like a little bit longer, slappy. It's just creating a little dimension, almost like a chorus type of effect. Really great. And I have this very subtle. It's at -12 right now. Sometimes I'm up to -8 on the fader. -12. Yeah, I just need a little something there. Not a whole lot. This is exciting. I don't know if I've really shown this one a lot. The Air band. This is another parallel for my lead vocal. What is actually happening? It's a tight gate. Let's shake it up. Let's go to the chorus. Again, it's seeming like I'm just trying to do everything I can to not boost a top end EQ for the vocal. Like this is just a different way that I'm getting my shine on the lead vocal than just boosting an EQ. This is parallel distortion. It's really like a parallel EQ, but I'm using a decapitator to mangle this thing and use this to get all my distortion, fill up the top end. Essentially, distortion is just extreme compression happening. So I could use a compressor, slam it, isolate this frequency, and blend it in parallel. That's essentially what I'm doing, but I'm using, because when it comes to the air frequencies, there's not a ton up there, so there's not a lot to compress out of it. So I need to fill it up, is what I'm thinking. I'm filling it up with saturator like this, well, extreme distortion at this point with the punish on and maxed out and all that. And then I'm isolating my frequency, 16K and above. So Spotify people, you're not going to hear this because they chop off at 16K. It's fucking bullshit. Anyways, Apple Music is the place.
Want to believe you, it ebbs and it flows. The wrong thing, the right bring, she comes and...
Yeah, hear that nastiness in there? That's what we're adding. That's it. So in context, if I take this in and out, this will be pretty subtle, but you can just hear a little bit of that air on the top of the vocal. Yeah. Anyways, I know I'm pushing my computer to the limits, but so cool, right? I mean, a subtle little thing, but it does a lot for me. Like if it's not in there, I miss it. Yeah, man. A little parallel EQ, parallel compression, parallel any effect, whatever. This is such a cool way to get that consistent, a little bit of air, a little bit of sizzle on top, right? Because I think that's a lot of the trouble with boosting the top end EQ on a vocal like that, is like it might not be terribly consistent sounding word to word, whereas like when he's just holding out a sustained vowel, it's ringing out. You could hear the sizzle the whole way. This to me just feels better that way. Okay, all of these lead vocals go into my lead vocal sum. I have sibilance, de-esser. His stuff barely needed anything. One last little thing of control in the low end, mix at 75%. I know, I'm pushing it. Yeah, unlinking the sides, because the only thing happening here is just a hard panned, doubled performance of the vocal. So let them react differently. I don't want to, if I don't need to take it out of the left, let's just take it out of the right. This is just a high pass. Am I not automating? I'm not. So that's it. This is usually where I'll do some filtering effects, automation like that. Not needed in this case. Coolio. Moving on. We'll get to these effects as they come up, because I'm pretty sure I am using a little bit of... Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of chorus reverb down here. So what is happening for lead vocal, or background vocals, excuse me. Looks like I got two sections. I got a chorus section as well as this little vocal stab effect down here. And then the intro, the bridge, and the outro, these stacks happen. So let's check that out. Cool. I just wanted to remind everybody that was, this is up there. This is back here on the vocal bus. So we're not going to see it down here, but that is happening there. Otherwise, here's... Okay, interesting. Very different sounds back there. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Are these all hard panned except for... Why are these inside? Who knows? Who knows? Anyways, yeah, these are all just kind of balanced as he had them. He sent me great files. He was an absolute delight to work with. He really took the time and got everything nice and pretty. So there wasn't a whole lot I needed to do. Coming from, I think he was using Reason as his DAW. I had to take it down -8 on everything, clip gain. But other than that, great. What is here? This one needed tuning. All right, that one just needed a little bit of help for whatever reason. Cool, that's fine. Nothing on there. So let's look at the background vocal bus. Saturation again. Odd harmonics, great. Odd feels a little more warm to me. Even is a little more bright, typically speaking. And then I love this unit because heavy, you can get both. But this was on odd. I have subtle EQ pulling out mud, again, right around 300. Fuck you, 300. And I have dual mode because a lot of these or all of them are hard pan left and right. So I want that compressor to react differently. Cool. VCA, slow attack, slow release, and the mix is down 50% anyways. So I'm not looking for this to do a ton of work. It's just to help kind of hold it steady. Soothe. For background vocals, this can be up at like 100%. I don't normally love it at 100% for leads. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But sometimes it can add like a little weird characteristic to it, and then I can hear it, and then I don't like it. So I'll roll it back. In this case, yeah, I'm just controlling a little bit of lows, a little bit of mids, a little bit of the harsh. Great. Don't overthink it. What? Okay, this is... What the fuck is happening? Is this... This is on the whole time? Interesting. Even with these guys? Oh, no. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. I forgot that I broke these guys out that are in the chorus, and they're going to their own bus. And these guys are what's going to the bus that we're looking at right now. So forgive me, and I forgot I got to keep this above the screen. So, yes, Ovox. This is a crazy unit. This is wild. Oh, sorry, I went to the wrong one again. Man, I don't know where this came from, like why I wanted to do this. Just modulating it. Or not modulating it. I just wanted something to be modulating with this. I don't know why I reached for Ovox, though. Maybe because I could put it in the key and maybe it's adding some more kinds of voices or simulating that. A little chorus, a little compression, not doing much there. Formants are being shifted and sliding. Cool. So you could hear Ovox is taking out a lot of that top end. And I think that's why we have this EQ that is shifting throughout. Right. Yeah. Okay. We'll get into that in a second. After Ovox. Oh, okay. I see. Like, yeah, a little bit of presence boost, but 2.5 dB on here. So I just needed to juice it up a little bit after the fact. Great. And then this is so cool. Is this automating at all? No, it's not. So this is True Verb. It's set up as my front to back panner. So as I was talking about earlier, you want things to expand top to bottom, left to right, front to back, all three dimensions. This is a great tool to get it to sit behind the lead vocals or whatever's in the foreground. This helps push it into the middle ground. Yeah, I just like to set back a little bit. Like, this to me isn't the focal point. Like, when it's happening in the bridge, there's a bunch of things happening, but I didn't want this to be like, oh, we're listening to the vocals now, because it's just kind of holding the pad. It shifts up to a note, comes back down. I wanted it to just sit in its own place, which to me was just behind a couple of those more fun elements like the guitars or the some of those synth moves that he's doing. So that's what this is doing. And you can move the distance here to bring it closer or behind or further away. Yeah, this was there, 12. Okay, yeah, so just push it back a little bit. Really cool, really handy. We're going to go forward and then we'll come back. So this BGV bus, which is just for these oohs and ahs down here, is going to my BGV sum. Very similar to the lead vocal sum, right? So I just got a little de-esser on here. This is probably doing a little bit more than what I'm doing on the lead vocal because I don't want 50 S's happening. I have reverb on here. Holy shit. Okay, this is really this is really throwing me off. Like I totally forgot about doing all this stuff. So we'll see if it comes back to me. How much are you doing? Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of blurs the lines a little bit more, which maybe I did that for like separation between the background vocals and the lead vocals. Maybe that's what I was thinking. I'm in my where is my mix down here? 75% wet. Jesus Christ. I really don't know why I'm doing this. Okay, but it's happening. Why? Large hall, that sounded good. It's a 3-4 second delay. Or reverb. Let's hear it in context. Okay, I'll tell you what though, this is doing what this other non-reverb reverb unit is doing for me, which is just pushing it back in time. So, or sorry, not back in time, back in space. Lastly, we got this automated EQ. So you can see I'm darkening at the end. I'm brightening in the middle. And then it's neutral at the top. Okay, so I know that's swelling, so we won't be able to hear that. Yeah, I feel like this is the only one that's like acting kind of natural. And it's being darkened so much by Ovox that I think I'm compensating for it here. Yeah, because it almost sounds natural there. So this is just a crazy tilt EQ that we're doing here. And then at the end, yeah, the end is more like a call and response, or the end is more like a callback to the beginning. So the end is like a callback to the beginning where we're ending kind of similarly to how we began the song. But I think it's cool that this happens 3 different times and you're hearing it 3 different ways. I think that's just, it just keeps the song interesting. So each time you're hearing it, it's new. Okay, now back up to these actual background vocals, which are happening in the choruses, and this one little fun thing down here. What do we actually got? I bet this is Shep's. Yeah, sure is. Of course it is. Okay, these are slightly different from each other. Like I see even harmonics. Sorry, keep moving this thing. I see heavy harmonics, even, odd. And I saw the compression. The compressors are being tweaked a little bit, so they're all getting a similar treatment, de-essing, pulling out the mud, harmonics and compression. So they're all getting something similar there. Let's look at this guy. What are you? And I'm realizing this might have been two separate things that I combined into its own vocal track, so we're just going to get rid of that. Cool. Okay. And then that's going to the bus. These are all going to their own bus. Low mids coming out. A little bit of sizzle out of the top. We don't need it. All right. We're not going to be able to look at it. Okay. Anyways, it's helping. That's it for background vocals. Not a whole lot there. It's just kind of reinforcing the leads. So make them do their part, and then that's it. Okay, finally, fun shit. Fun shit. Okay, there's a lot here. This was a big difference with my mix and his. Like, this was the other big thing, was like I really wanted to focus on the groove, and the drums were the place. So let's do a quick A/B, focusing on the drums this time for like where it was and then where it ended up. Right? Like, that's such a huge, crucial element that for me takes it from a ballad into like a chill pop song. So when he first sent it to me and he's like, what do you think I could do to make this better? I was like, you got to make it dance. Like, that was my thought. It was like, nothing's moving, nothing is exciting. Like, I need to hear those subdivisions and just a little bit of vibe and movement. Like, it lacked energy. So we got it there. Let's see. I'll try to go through this quick because there's a lot of drums here. I see I added my own kick sound. Other than that, he sent me 3 kicks. Cool. So he didn't have any attack on his kick drums. So that's what this sample of mine is doing from Trigger. Big enhancer, whatever that is. That's giving me that transient that I didn't have. So if it doesn't have a transient, just, again, I'm not reaching for an EQ to create transient. Like, this is a pop production song. Just pick a kick drum that has transient. that works with the other stuff and just throw it in. I see that this one kick drum he sent me was out of phase or just sounded better with the phase flipped. Yeah, I don't know. It just tightens up. So whatever, flip it. Like I usually check it with a lot of this low frequency information stuff. This third kick drum you can see is a different pattern. That one is his just emphasizing the downbeat. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's really cool. Other than that, kick 2 is his main kick. So this I put Subloom on. Really fun plugin. Yeah, like obviously you're getting some subs, more oomph, but the presence, like the knock around 1K was 1200, 1.2K, whatever. But just adds a little oomph, and it makes it heard, right? Like let me pop that one plugin in and out of the whole mix. So like that one plugin is creating that kick drum to really kind of knock and be heard, and it's reacting with all those compressors that are happening down the line on the mix bus and the drum and bass bus. So that one little element down here at the track level is really affecting all those other great things down the line. All those kick drums are going to my kick sum. I like to work very linearly. 60 hertz boost, great. Love that for a kick. I mean, it could be any one of these. I'm almost never 20. Sometimes 30 sounds better. Sometimes 100 is good enough. And then putting a little bit of a nose on it, 3K, great. And then taking out 5K quite severely. Wow, let's hear that. Yeah, so creating like a resonant filter up there at 3K, because the ticky tack, which might be coming from my sample, has a little too much of the top. So take a little bit of it out. That's great. I'm sending to parallel drums, parallel kick snare, transformer. Oh, that's gonna be fun. No verb, and then this is just a sidechain thing if I need it. Great. We'll get into that stuff later. Snare drums. Let's see what's happening here. You see like different parts. The verse is different. Great. So he's got his main snare. Surprise, surprise. I'm thumping, which this is a little boost at 100 hertz. This to me, 100 hertz on the snare can like really marry it to the kick drum and make it part of the same kit. And it just kind of lives in like the same kind of place. So like a pop track like this can really benefit from something like that. Otherwise it could feel too separated in the groove. Let's hear it in context. Like I just want to listen to the groove like this. You couldn't change my mind. You couldn't break my... Yeah, dude. Yeah, it just doesn't feel right without it, right? Like it's too naked, it's too disconnected from the kick drum. So, boom, put that on there. Oh, let's see, what else are we doing? I have a little resonant filter down there at 30, just extending the low end of it. So I'm just putting a bunch of beef into the snare drum, as well as some top end, 7.2, like on a Neve. That's what I'm thinking about there for that frequency. Even harmonics, brighten it up a little bit, and that's it. Good to go. Otherwise, he sent me this snare down here. He sent me that verb, wet and dry. And he gave me the option to use either one. I liked it with both. I have the dry, quite farther down on the fader. But I liked it in there a little bit. So there you go. Then these guys, you just balance in like whatever feels right. Like anything else. Okay. Snare sample. Oh, no, I'm not even using this. So we can get rid of that. These are all going to my snare sum. I have a little bit of decapitator, harmonics, putting a little bit of brightness on it, but taking out the super, super top end. Let me go, I like the verse. You never said so. I thought I lost my mind. I wouldn't. Yeah, it makes it a little splatty, but in a cool way. Great. I'm not going to overthink it. I love doing this push-pull trick on the Pultec. 100 hertz coming up, and then right in front of it, because it's not the same exact frequency on the Pultec, it's a little bit in front when you're attenuating versus the boosting. So it's, again, creating a little bit of a resonant filter. So it's dipping out some of that meat around 120, 130, 40, 50, 60, whatever. So the low end of this is great. You never said so. I thought I lost my mind. I wouldn't say though. I couldn't say. Yeah, and just a little bit of crack on top. And there you go. There's your snare. Snare. Okay, great. Toms. He's got a couple little moments here. Yeah. So just a couple little transitionary elements, if that's a word. But there was a couple that were like pretty significant. So when it comes to the song, like this was obviously the biggest one here. This one that's on a track on its own. Let's see what I'm doing to it. This is great, by the way. Valhalla Space Modulator. This also is free. So go get it and then fuck up your toms. Cool. That panning is happening from the artist. That's just how that patch was panned. Whatever. That's great. That fits with my drum panning that I like to do. I usually do drummer's perspective anyways, so that's kind of rolling in the right direction. Flanging. Yeah, I just want it to be weird, dude. Like, that's such a great moment. This is probably my favorite moment in the song, is when we land on that bridge and everything's just vibing and the bass changes, it goes wide, blah, blah, blah. So I couldn't just let this be boring without it. It's fine. Now it's cool. Just leaning into what he already had there. I'm not creating this crazy sound. I'm just like, this could be really cool. And like I noticed it actually in a couple of the songs that he provided as references to keep in mind. I think this was Gene Dawson, a song called Houston. I think Gene or John or Jean. I'm almost positive I heard like flanged toms at some point in that song, and I was like, oh, you know what, this is a great spot for that. So yeah, Space Mine. I have other flangers. I don't know why I grabbed this one. I knew this one can get really gnarly, so I just found a flange preset and tweaked from there. Great. And then I got something similar, different setting here, and this is where, up here. Yeah, this one could be less extreme. That's totally cool. So tom sum, it's gonna be similar with like the kick and the snare. Decapitator, beef it up. This is gonna be significant. Yeah, it's just lost without it, dude. From there, what do we have? Oh, I put reverb right on there. Cool. Yeah, not a ton. We're at 50%, 51%, whatever it was. Yeah, great. Hat Electro. What is this? Cool. Just a hat to emphasize some of the hits. Don't even need to look at it. There's no point in even putting a plugin on it, right? If it doesn't need it, stay out of the way. So you'll see a lot of these don't have anything. Like I'm doing some tone shaping on the toms, the snare some, the kick snum, other than like a couple little individual moves here and there that I need to emphasize or improve. Other than that, if it sounds great, just get it in there, and it's going to run through the system, meaning like my mix template and all these other pieces of color that I have, and it'll just improve on its own. So if it doesn't need something, stay out of the way. Hats. Okay, I remember this now. Let's check this out. This was a big part of what I wanted to do when he sent me his mix of it. And he's like, what do you think can be better? And I'm like, I want things to interact. I want the groove to be better. I'm thinking about like expanders, sidechain compression, things like that, just to get things more exciting and a lot more movement in the groove. Because the groove is so cool. All these elements are so cool. Like it just needed help getting there. And like this is a great way to do that, where like the hat right here is being sidechained from the kick drum. And like that's such a cool way to create that movement, that swelling in volume. Yeah, like if the kick drums were really fast and there was a lot happening, this wouldn't be as cool. But because of this groove and the way that it is, like this worked out really well. And it's just an 1176, nothing special. Yeah, just like stay out of the way, man. Speaking of staying out of the way, let's hear this with the vocal or everything in there. That's all I'm thinking about with micro shift, is I just want to spread it out of the way, get it out of the center. Smear it a little bit so the vocals can stay the star. I couldn't save my world on summer rain night. Yeah, this helps just kind of push it back behind the vocals, even though the vocals aren't 100% center, right? They're out like 17, 18 or whatever it was. This is more depth than left to right. With that is more depth. So check this out. This is that same setup, right, with the early reflections like we saw earlier, that I wanted to push that element back. This is the same exact setup, just different distance, right? So I'm just placing it in the field. I'll do one of these at a time, and then let's listen to, and then I'll do both of these ones together. I couldn't save my world on summer rain night. I couldn't save my world on summer rain night. I couldn't save. Oh, come on, we can do it. I believe in you. I couldn't save my world on summer rain night. Right, so like this is so like to me this is just way too, this hi-hat is way too present with the lead vocal. So this just smears it, pushes it back, and now it lives in a good home. This hi-hat that happens.
You couldn't change.
Cool, so the hi-hats just changed slightly there.
You couldn't
Positive I'm doing the same exact thing here. Let's see, this hi-hat's even further back than this one. So we get a nice little lift on the second half of this verse, and it looks like that repeats.
You couldn't change you couldn't change my mind. You couldn't break I wouldn't break. I couldn't save
Yeah, I like that. I like that new introduction of that element, right? So we're pushing it back further than that second half hi-hat. And it also got the volume down a little bit lower. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Okay, that's just there. Like, again, that's one of those things. Leave it alone. Hi-hats at the end here. That's cool. That's up pretty hot, you know. But I like that this is a new element, a new dancing groove-based element that makes you want to dance. Come in at the ending, right? The big finale here. I think that's so great. So again, you just find a home for it on the fader. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. These loop bits. What are you? Okay, cool, fun stuff. Yeah, just a little bit of ear candy, a little bit of excitement. I don't want that too hot, but I don't want to lose it. This main drum loop, I loved this sound, dude. So cool. This one, I remember he asked me to pull it back down. Cause like once I heard this was in there, I was like, oh man, this is like the element that I was missing hearing from your mix. Cause the way this patch, this loop, the way this grooves is so good. There's so many great little syncopation and subdivision things in there. Yeah, I remember really leaning into this once. I was like, oh, dude, you have all the parts. But yeah, I had to pull back on that one. He wanted that lower, so that was by choice. That wasn't an accident that I didn't have that groove element in his mix. But anyways, so I love that, and you'll see on the tom sum I got a parallel drum bus, the same with the snare, the kick. And then I will pick and choose elements, whether it's cymbals or little loops like this, that are going to the parallel drum bus. We'll get there in a minute. But that's a big part, is like just picking and choosing, dragging this to like, what do I want to groove or emphasize a little more, right? Like a lot of times it's hi-hats. Because I love the way they react with a kick drum underneath extreme compression. I think that's so cool. So that's what you're seeing there. Parallel drum comp. This is nothing. I don't know why that's in there. Drum noise in the bridge. Cool. Again, just find a home for it. Let's hear that in context. Yeah, like obviously we evaporate, we're exploding out. We don't necessarily need a big timekeeper element there, like let it be floaty. So it's down on the fader, A little bit is cool, but we don't need a lot there. Ride loop. I have a feeling I put this EQ on, or at least the low pass up there after that first mix when he told me to darken it up a little bit. I have a feeling that happened. I could be wrong, but yeah, I can't remember. Is there acoustic guitars in here? Yeah, I feel like it's actually it just sounds in the way of the acoustic guitar pick on the strings, the strumming. It feels too like they're coexisting in the same space, and that it was too much. So maybe I did that on my own. I don't know. But that's such a cool subdivision element. Such a cool subdivision element that will also go to the parallel drum bus. Other than that, we just have some crashes. These are all. Great. Shaker, I can't remember. I think this was like a key component. Yeah, this took a second to kind of find the right home for it. And this is getting that same treatment as the hi-hats, side-chained to the kick drum. Right, so that's really cool. Yeah, so stuff like that, the shaker and the ride loop up here. Let's see if I can. Oh, don't do this to me now. Let's see. Okay, it's bugging out when I try to do that, so we're just gonna not do it. But taking off some of the top end sizzle, here. That was just what he wanted for this song. Whether it was my decision or his, I can't remember. But it helped. Who cares? Drum bus. Okay, let's look at the compression happening here. Yeah, cool. I don't want it to dive too big, so that's why this filter is up here at 80. I say dive too big, but check this out. Yeah, like it's taking too much low end out. Like it's just too boomy and floppy without that sidechain filter in there, so that helps a lot. Again, I'm just trying to emphasize the groove here. That's all we're doing. This is just, it helps that little subdivision. Like it just sounds like you're doing a shaker. Kind of a rhythm to it, like that kind of groove, that bounce. Really, really great. What are we doing here? Not much, just a little more color. Yeah, just a little bit of harmonics, not just some nice stuff on top. Okay, let's look at something fun. Parallel drums, a little bit of filtering. I don't need the subs going into this bus. I got subs coming out of my main bus. And then I'm dipping out at 400. Let's do this. parallel drum bus, I will leave the left-right link on it. That's totally fine. I don't need these to be so independent of each other. That's not the vibe. 10-1, slam it, fast attack. Just transients getting through and stuff. Just really, yeah, go for it. Yeah, I think that's so great. So if I put that fader back down, let me just do the main drums and the parallel, and I'll take this in and out. Ooh, you talk about like emphasizing the groove and like making it dance. That is the fucking shit right there. That's such a great move. And again, I was being very specific with what is hitting this parallel drum compressor, right? So like I want that loop that's doing the subdivisions. I got this other loop doing subdivisions, the hats that are doing the subdivisions, and a lot of that reduction is being triggered by the kick and the snare, right? Those big elements that are clamping down this compressor, causing it to give me that groove. And then again, you just dial it into taste on the fader, right? Just slide it up until it feels good. Like I would love for this to be higher and more emphasized. I think that would be so cool. Is it right for the mix? Probably not. But a little bit'll do ya. Like you definitely miss it without it. And that goes a long way for me. So another parallel drum bus that I have here is PKS, parallel kick snare. A lot of times in a dense production like this, you need a little extra sauce to keep that kick and snare front and center so you don't lose it, keeps your attention. So let's do this. I'm going to play the whole mix in context, and then I'm just going to mute this parallel kick snare. And this fader is down pretty low. This is minus 24 on the fader here. So let's check this out. Yeah, just a little extra special attention for that kick and snare, right? Sometimes I'll use this Sans amp, like a parallel distortion, for more so the snare than the kick. Because I feel like I get a little more for the kick in this setup than the snare, but I still get both, and I like that. This just kind of emphasizes the groove and really defines the beat, the rhythm, the downbeats, especially on like a big chorus. Like I'll automate this to go up a dB just on like the downbeat of that first kick drum, right? Like I'll do shit like that. That can be really useful. So that's great for the kick. It's more like I said, 75% of the kick and 25% for the snare. Like this is mostly a kick thing. Whereas the Sans amp, you'll see it in other videos, is more so of a snare thing. And I can always choose, like if I want it to be even, I could pull back on the kick some back here, and I could boost it a little more on the snare. But I think this is a great little trick. And again, I'm down at minus 24, but it does a lot. Like it just kind of keeps them steady. Vocals, kick, snare, and bass, quite often. You usually don't want to lose the focus of those elements at all. Guitars can go fuck themselves. But yeah, this shit, I love that. And then this is such a huge part of this drum sound. This is why the groove feels as good as it does, is this transformer bus right here. So let me go to the densest part of the song. Let's do that. And then let's listen to this whole thing in context. And transient information for the drums. Like how well or how much do you want to dance when I take this in and out? Yeah, this to me is just adding that air on top, that sizzle, that groove, some of those transients. It's so much fun. So this is a straight rip-off from one of the goats, Jason Joshua, for like pop productions. This is a great thing. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I do not. Bunch of distortion, fill up all the harmonics up there. He's darkening it so it doesn't get super too crispy. 2-to-1, slamming the threshold. I usually want to hit it around minus 10 dB. And then I have more distortion here. And then I'm just isolating those transient frequencies up here. So 2.6K and up. Actually, we should listen on its own. That's what we're adding in, right? Just a couple little transient things up there. And it just fucking works. It's so good. Like I said, not every time, but often, especially for something like this where you want to emphasize the groove. Perfect. Those are all going into my drum sum. Oh, this will be big difference. I got the mix down to 60%. There might be a little level jump, but whatever. Let's do this. Again, this is such a great way to add top end without explicitly boosting the top end on an EQ. I know I sound like a broken record right now, but I love getting top end from other ways than just boosting an EQ. I think there's a lot more exciting ways that you can do that. And it's really just all about harmonics and just getting what I think is a better sound that way. Other than that, I got a slight little, take out a little bit of mud and then just enhancing the presence up there. Again, there's so much down here in the low mids throughout this whole song. So a little 250 out of the drums, no problem. Boosting a little bit of that transient clicks up there. Great. I love it. Reverses, explosions down here. Fun shit. Sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. Something like this. I only needed a little bit of swell right at the end. Let's listen to that. Yeah, I'm using 4 different swell sounds. Yeah, it just makes it a little more exciting. Let's listen without these. Yeah, it just feels a little more anticlimactic, in my opinion. So there's that. And then these are all from him. He gave me all of these risers and sound effects and blah, blah, blah. If it doesn't need anything, it doesn't need anything. The one thing he was particular about were these 2 little coin sounds down here. It sounds like a video game or something. Then same thing. So I got distortion so you can hear it. And then I'm putting that directly into an echo there. Space echo. 372.7 milliseconds. Go ahead and write that down. That's a crucial setting. Oh, and this one's 381.2. So make sure you get that one as well. 2 different distortion things. I think I just wanted it to be different. Evidently. Like, I don't know why I wouldn't just drag that other one down. Cool. I mean, this one's ever so slightly slower than this one. I don't know if it's really perceivable, but it just feels like it drags a little bit. So do with that information what you will. that's it. And then you just find a home for the rest of these. These are all just basic risers. So cool. He had a great ear for these production elements like that, because people really sleep on their transitions. So risers, I mean, it's a classic, tried and true technique. Like, it's really, really so good. It does a lot. I don't care if it's a rock song, R&B. Like, it can really do a lot, especially subtle if you don't hear it. But it's one of those things, you take it away, you go, why is there no energy going into this new section? Okay, anyways, bass DI. He sent me all these different bass sounds. That one's definitely a little too plucky for my taste. So I'm taking the pluck out. Yeah, transient designer with that. Let's actually go one at a time. That's great. This really solidifies it and turns it into like a bass for me. Putting it all the way down here on dark. Like this, and Neve to me is like the darkest of these modules. The thickest, or at least like the less top end that it's adding. So this one really, that one kind of does a lot for me. And then, just controlling those low. Yeah, just getting out of the way. That's always like a little bit of a trouble spot on bass, like 160, 130. Layering that with this sound. Controlling some of that low end that gets a little bit wily. No problem. This to me was the best sound, maybe in the whole song. Let's hear the transition going from this real bass into this thing. Yeah, dude, so cool. I love that. Like, I talk a lot about like defining a section. This, again, he had a great ear for the production side of this, and going from that mono bass out into that stereo is just so exciting. So cool. Let's listen in context. And this is the only time where the bass goes stereo like that. And if you remember, up here on my mix bus, I got the mono maker up here at 84. So like, let's play with this and see how different it is if I disengage this. 85, close enough. But right, like it just loses, like it gets, it's too much without any of that control. And it's not exciting enough if I take it too far, like past 100. So just a little dab will do you. I just want the subs to stay in mono, and then it felt great there. So why not? But I love that, dude. I love that sound, and it comes back here at the end. So that's just great arrangement, right? Like after that little half first chorus, it goes into the actually big double chorus. You see you got this other hi-hat element dancing out here that comes in, and then the bass goes back out wide, and I think that's brilliant production. I just really love that. And then you can see here we have bass sub. What are you? Yeah, exactly what you think. So all of these basses together in this transition spot. That's great. And then let me see what we're doing here. Yeah, I remember that. Like softening that transition, because we're going into the second verse out of that chorus, and like that was just getting just too much, right? Well, we might not get it. But again, going into the bridge, like the bridge is such a big landing spot that I loved taking it away. Like that's a great classic old production trick. Is like if you want a section to feel big when it hits, like take the bass away, the note before. So this is like there's a lot of different ways to do it. You can mute it if the part is right for that. But this, I just wanted to like pull back on the low end and then let it explode back out. Yeah, that's huge. I love that. I love it, love it, love it. That's such a good mixer move. Not to sound cocky or anything, but like as a mixer, it's looking for things like that you can do that create that emotional impact, that emotional connection to the listener. Like that just puts me, like you got me at that point as a listener. So shit like that can really go a long way. And then speaking of automating up on like downbeats, see that we're going to -1, but we're living in -1.7, so you're going up like a dB and a half, basically 2 dB, just to emphasize that downbeat a little more. How much is it doing? That's like perceivable, pretty little, but it does something. I think that's great. Like I said, I'll do that a lot with drums or like guitars. If it's a big rock thing, just that first little bit of the chorus, you just want them to hit a little bit harder. I think that's great. Cool. Excellent. So all these basses are going to my bass sum, of course. And here we have saturation happening, heavy. Really get those harmonics in there. This will be pretty big, actually. Let's go to a chorus. Yeah, like even at like lower levels, like the bass kind of disappears without this distortion in there. So I'll tell you, this in conjunction with this right here, boosting around 700 on a bass is chef's kiss. Looks like I'm taking out just a little bit narrow at 200. Again, bass gets a little wily down there. Thumping around 100. Great. Yeah, it gets lost without it, man. This whole unit is just so good. Soothe. Yes, this is... Am I doing it here? No, I'm not. Okay. Sometimes I like to sidechain the kick. here on the bass, but I am not doing that. I am doing it here with Soothe, so that's fine. Sidechain input from the kick, and I'm just dipping down the subs, right, like sub. This is 25 hertz. So it's probably working like up to 60 hertz, but just big, yeah. Just get it out of the way because one of these has to win the low end battle. And it's really on a song by song basis. In this case, more times than not, maybe I want the kick to win the subs, like 60 cycles and below. Like that's cool. But one of these has to win, so I'm ducking that out of the bass, which is just sustaining, right? So you don't perceive any kind of volume difference because all that top end is still untouched for the bass because you really hear the bass. Like I was just saying, in the harmonics that we're adding here, and then 700 cycles. So like we're not losing that. That is staying put. So we're just dipping the low end information so that way my mix bus compressors, all the limiters at the end, everything is still acting nicely. Nothing's getting overloaded and choking down on itself with all this low end information. This is keeping the low end consistent. Great trick. Love that. Taking out some shit. 300. Like, that's so muddy around here. So this bass, right, we're boosting 100. If you remember, we're boosting 100. We're taking out down here with all those synths and guitars and keyboards, vocals. And then I'm boosting 700 right here. So this is effectively what we're doing across different plugins. So yeah, I'm keeping in mind that I'm carving space for all these different elements, right? Because his mix was cloudy, nothing was well defined, and it lacked that definition. So things like this all the way throughout the mix, top to bottom, are helping me get there and improve in that way. Boom, a little bit of volume automation, and you're rocking. Okay. Let's talk about guitars. Acoustic guitar. That's an acoustic guitar. Inflator, 100%, dude. Hell yeah. And then what more harmonic? Oh, R comp. Okay. Transient control. That's what that's doing with that super fast attack and release. Okay, let's hear with and without both these guys. Great. Yeah, this is the tone. I love inflator on guitars in general, but acoustic guitars especially boosting up this curve again towards like the warmer side. Really fills out beautifully. Yeah, so in context, this is why I can hear like the resonance of the guitar. I can hear the tone of the guitar. Without these both in there, like it just sounds like pick on strings, which I hate that sound. I do not want to hear the guitar pick. I want to hear the guitar. So that's what we're doing. And then this is, again, just transient control. Yeah, I don't want to take it all the way out. I just want to tame it down, control it more, because I'm getting that same subdivision from like the shakers and then the ride loop, and some of those drum elements, which are living up in those same upper frequencies. If I was doing this today, I have a split EQ where you can, from Eventide, phenomenal plugin. You can control the transients separate from the tone of the instrument. So I would just take some of the transients out of the top end. That would be another way to do this, but this worked. That's great. I am sending to reverb, yes, just in the bridge. Oh, when things collapse and go down and then again on the outro. Let's hear that. Yeah, dude. And I know I mentioned like I don't really like reverbs that much, but aside from that Capital Chambers unit, this specific preset on this, I mean, this is a great unit too. But I love Guitar Hall here. I'll mess with the pre-delay, the time, but this is so good for guitar. It's beautiful. I like I said, I don't often care for reverbs or think that they're beautiful, but this one's the shit. Great. Let's move on. This is gonna be some fun stuff. This chorus guitar. Cool. Yeah, similar concept, right? I'm controlling the tone of it so we don't lose it. Or sorry, not the tone, the dynamics, the volume of it. And then this, I mean, this is the tone. Okay, one fun thing that I did with this in particular, you see this down here, guitar pedals, Onward. That is my Chase Bliss Onward pedal. I ran this chorus guitar through this pedal, and I got some fun spatial things. But one of the other cool things this does is vibrato. So I engaged that. Let's just hear this one on its own. Yeah, dude, I love that trippy, just kind of push and pull, wavy thing that it's doing. Um, I I I think I originally intended to just mute this chorus guitar. Now that I had like reamped it through this pedal here. Yeah, so I liked it better with both. I loved the rub that I was getting with both, because the one is not modulating in pitch; it's doing the right notes, and the other one is just kind of pulling in and out of being in tune together. So this was such a fun element to do, and I think this brings up a good point of not being afraid to do something like this and to mess with the pitch of something and like lean into it. Like if the emotions are there because the tuning isn't spot on, or the timing even for that matter, um, it doesn't matter because the emotion is right. If the emotions are right, then it's right. I don't give a fuck what's happening. This is like people think about like Bon Iver, Skinny Love, like all the weird tuning things. Like nothing is perfectly in tune with each other. His vocals, the guitars, but the emotions are in there. So like I want to encourage like younger artists to not be afraid of like doing something like this that sounds wrong or bad. Like if the emotion is right, it's there. Like there's so many songs where the tunings are wrong, and that's where the emotional impact lies. So like not being afraid to tuck in a guitar that's like slightly detuned underneath the guitar that's perfectly tuned. Like if that helps, then that helps. That's so cool. Yeah, really cool. And I definitely wanted to emphasize it in this down chorus. You can see like where I want to emphasize a moment, so I bet this is like a gap in the vocals probably. Yeah, like I guess when the vocals are in there, I kind of back off on like the pitches fighting each other too much. So just kind of automating in and out, lean in, lean out, that kind of thing. Yeah, anyways, super cool. I thought that was really fun, a great opportunity to be doing something weird like that. V-Funk, very funk. No, verse funk. That's what that is. Ooh, fun. Yeah. Okay. In context. Yeah, just making it a little bit thinner, a little more, a little spankier. Sounds like. I'm setting to a spring reverb, a mono spring reverb, and then I also have slaps. So this guitar is almost panned hard right. I don't want to go hard panned right at this point on the verse, because it's saving that extra room that's on the very, very outside to when we get to that chorus, and I need things to be bigger, and then things can explode out even wider. So I keep this one tucked in just a little bit. Another easy little production trick. But I got the slaps, this little slap delay, panned on the other side, which is another old trick. Like you pan the reverb, the guitar reverb to the other side, the delays, whatever. So cool, like the digga digga digga. I love that part. Yeah. And then it's a little spring up the middle. Just kidding. Spring looks like it's panned all the way hard left. I got my speakers down low, so I can't totally hear it. So I got delays on the left, the reverb on the left, guitar on the right. Yeah, there's just a little just a little shimmer, a little stutter kind of thing, dimension. It's super cool. It's fun. I love doing shit like that. So what is this, 43 milliseconds, a little bit of saturation on there. This is why Echo Boy's so good. All of these different effects. Memory Man sounds like a guitar pedal. Great. It's a guitar sound, so why not? End guitar. What are you doing? Cool. Yeah, I didn't feel the need to do anything with that. Just stay out of the way. Don't fuck it up. All right, yeah. So we made that one pretty cool. And this was based on this sound. So you can see this was here, but I didn't like what I was doing. He didn't like the way I had it either. Like it wasn't fitting right. So then we just went to his original sounds that he had there. So then this track is me doing a version of it, but doing my own version of it for that last chorus where everything's in there. But for this down chorus bridge section, we kept it his sound. So let's look at him first, actually. Cool. Bear with me. I'm just trying to get everything in frame for you guys. I know this crop is going to be weird on this video. Oh, similar there, but different. Interesting. All right, doesn't matter. He's got his reverb baked in there. That's great. And then I have... let's build it out together. Okay, so just a DI. Crunch it up with a Sans amp. Why not? Pushing it. Crush setting is a little bit of a not a bit crusher, a soft clip, I think is what this is based on. I think I saw that in the manual. Basic filtering. I do have a gate to chop off some of that distortion and noise that's coming from like the Sans amp now. The in-between notes. Pushing that mid-range and a little bit of... Oh, no, that's the soft clipper, right? That's a crush. That's just heavy distortion. This is the soft clipper. Yeah, it just makes it thicker, chunkier, you know. Delay right on it. Why not? You know what makes it cooler? Put that delay into a reverb. So what was the mix on this? This was... Yeah, I don't know. What is that? 20% wet. And then this, I remember, is the same room as that vocal reverb, which is just getting like those background vocals in this section. So it's putting the guitar in the same room as those background vocals. That's what we're doing. And let's see if we can really hear, like with these guys. No. Nope. Just kidding. This is that reverb. Oh, we didn't look at this yet. This is the reverb for the background vocals. Basic. One thing to note here is the pre-delay is going to be huge, again, for creating separation and space between the vocals and the reverb, so things aren't as washy in a song like this where things are very, very washy. So where did I put that reverb? Oh, here it is on that down vocal there coming out of this section. That's that same reverb. Okay, doesn't matter. Cool. All these guitar tracks are then going to my guitar sum. All I have on there is soothe, doing a little bit of control for the harshness. Let's go to the loud part. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. And then general tone shaping, just scooping out a little bit of that honk at 500. So this would be noticeable back here. Yeah, you could tell it just kind of gets muddy and cloudy without these little moves, right? None of these are doing too much, but these kind of moves throughout the session, like you see it again here on my keyboard, something similar. Those really add up. Main pad, check it out. Too much mud around that 160. There's bass is living there. The bottom of the vocals, they're just, clean it up a little bit. Pulling it out again, just slightly, right? I got a bell on this SSL. Didn't mean to rhyme. Pulling out that awful fucking 300. God damn, I hate that 300. And then again, pulling around harshness. Oh, a little bit of 3K. And then again, pulling out at 5K. Wow. Yeah, that definitely thickened it up. I feel like this came after that first round where we got to the second mix and you just wanted things to be darker. He might have commented to make the main keyboard pad thing thicker, warmer, darker. So that'll do it right there. Let's hear that one.
You couldn't change my mind. You couldn't break my. I wouldn't.
Again, that's one of those things. I don't think any one of them's better or worse. They both sound good. They could both be fine. His preference was to go dark, so that's what we did. Chaos pad. What are you? Yeah, so this kind of complements this main pad down here, and it gives it that top end extension when we go to the bigger chorus. I'm going to say it again, where things expand upward now in terms of frequency. And I don't think we're doing any kind of special panning down here. No, they're both out hard wide. Yeah, but that gives you that top end extension that you're missing now from... Right, like, yeah, then there's nothing up top. And it's not like we have, like, big cymbals that are kind of ringing out. Like, there's a little on the ride, but that's more of a subdivision roll than, like, a sheet of top-end energy. So that's really the role of this. Yeah, lovely. Again, great idea for production. He's got a good ear for that. So complimentary, especially when you got like two pads. Like they're both pads. They're just kind of sitting there doing footballs on the chords. So complimentary sounds. That's good on him for doing that one. Fun little thing in unison with the lead vocal. Maybe it changes down here. Just down an octave for the down chorus. I can dig it. No, nothing to do there. ARP. Interesting. This is a fun tool. Again, like I got that split EQ now, but this is something similar where I can envelope here. It's a frequency specific transient designer type of vibe. So 2.1 kilohertz, boosting quite a bit. So this did not have attack, and I didn't need to do anything as far as the sustain or the body of it. Let's see if we can get away with them without this. That's really pretty at like a low volume because it gets totally lost otherwise. And this is just a trim down 2 dB. Maybe because this didn't have an output on it. I just need to pull it back. But why would I not do... That's why I would not do just the volume. I have a bunch of automation there. Well, pushing it too much. Anyways, this is going to Buenos. If you see my other videos, this is another ripoff of the great Chad Blake. Buenos Noches. It was a setting on his Harmonizer H3000, I believe. It just adds movement outside swirliness, pleasant chaos, if you will. A bit of a flanger into Mondo mod. We'll get that moving. Very slow and just so like flanger is moving, Mondo mod is moving in a different way. And then I have micro shift. Just basically this is just like another stereo widener. But again, it's adding some kind of shifting thing to it. So let's see if we can emphasize the sound for you. Yeah, that's such a good uh, element to put into Buenos. So you can see I'm pushing it on the bridge where everything blooms outward, and then I could reel it in on the chorus when we got the vocals again and all that fun stuff. So that's my thinking with that. Pluck, what are you doing here, friend? Whoa, okay, clearly you work together with Whistle. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Okay, just a swell element. Going into a reverb, that guitar hall again. Okay, what about Whistle? Similar vibe. Similar vibe. They're doing the same exact. Let's back up. Or not. Yep, you get it. It's just a fun sound that acts like a riser. Blah blah blah. Buenos guitar halls. Blah, 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 blah. That was it for fun effects down here. These are all going to key sum. They're going to be the same thing like guitar sum. A little bit of control here. Not too much. I don't want to do too much. And again, we'll have some lows and getting it out of the way of the bass down there. So that's that. That's the whole song. Oh my God, we did it. We finally got there. My computer was yelling at me this whole way. We got there. Let's do one more. If my computer will allow me, one more little A-B of like where we started, where we ended up. That's all she wrote. Okay, that's a fun one. This is a cool song. Again, it's by the Eleanor. It's called Never Said. Links below. Check it out. It's a really good tune. I'm very happy with it. I went pretty quick through this shit, so if anybody has any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to dive deeper into things. Otherwise, don't be assholes to people and do good things in the world. Okay, whatever. Bye.